Morning, everybody. Let's get going. Commissioners Court will come to order. Today's date's Monday, June 24th, 2024. It's 9 o'clock. We have a quorum, but Commissioner Wright is under the weather, so he will not be here. So if everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Williams, please lead us into prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have granted us. Father, be with us as we do the business of Mills County. Guide us and direct us in all our actions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Okay. So number 2, Commissioners, if you'll look at review and act on minutes of June the 10th, 2024.
The only correction I have, Joy, is on precinct 4 under Commissioner's request and reports. See that? I met with the golf course board, not management.
Okay,
About the 4th line.
is that all? Just golf course board?
Board.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written and corrected.
Okay. Motion has been made by Commissioner Williams to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second? Commissioner Parks made a second. Joe, I believe I need to abstain since I missed that meeting. So we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approve the minutes of June 10th, say aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain from the vote since again, I missed the meeting that day. Okay. Number 4, consider an act on approving accounts payables. Commissioners, or accounts payables package is in your. What's that? I'm sorry, audience individuals, is anyone here to speak today? I know we got some people tied into our meeting, so no audience individuals. Thank you, Commissioner Porter. So now let's do consider an act on approving accounts payables. County Attorney Hale, good morning. Good morning.
Oh, it's not cheap.
No.
Is that truck running? No. I make a motion to approve the accounts payables.
Okay, motion has been made by Commissioner Williams to approve the accounts payables. Second has been made by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of approving the accounts payable, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. We got number 5, consider an act on central appraisal district budget with Lori Friedrich, and she is not here. She's supposed to be here. I don't know where she is. Let's do this, Commissioners. Let's skip this and go on and see if she pops in here in a minute. I just sent her a text. So we'll come back to number 5. And let's go to number 6, consider an act on joint election agreement with Pretty ISD. And this is a normal deal we do all the time. I don't think there's any point in me reading all this. Commissioners, I know y'all had a chance to go through this. Any comments or anything on this proposed joint agreement, election agreement? Hearing none, I'll make a motion that we approve the joint election agreement with Pretty ISD. I made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Parton. All those in favor of approving the joint election agreement with Pretty ISD, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 7, consider an act on approving the 2025 sheriff's and constable's fee schedule. Sheriff Poole, you want to pop up here in case anyone has any questions for you on this. Commissioners, also in y'all's package, we got from the Texas Controller of Public Accounts, the sheriffs and constables 2024 fees. Which I believe is real about the same as always been, correct, Sheriff?
Correct, yeah, they're in line with all the surrounding counties, and there's gonna be no changes to 2025.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for the sheriff on this? Well, here no questions or anything or discussion. I'll make a motion that we approve the 2025 sheriffs and constables fee schedule.
Second.
I made the motion, second by Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the 2024 fee schedule, say aye. 2025 sheriff and constables fee schedule, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Sheriff, thank you. Okay, number 8, consider an act on Housing EMS budget, and this time I call Mr. Patrick Cobb up. Good morning, Dane Allison's also in the audience, and I'll prep this up, start things off. Is the mic on? Does anyone check that mic? Jackie, can you test it? Patrick, say 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Jackie, can you hear Patrick okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. So, probably over 2 weeks ago, Mr. Patrick Cobb came to office with the latest audit that was done by Hamilton EMS, the audit for all the ambulance systems.
Okay.
And, what has come up is on the basically in the red in some aspects of that audit. And as you know, commissioners, we pay $250,000 a year for Mills County. Cincinnati County pays $250,000 a year for an ambulance. We get an ambulance. We also share in a third ambulance between Mills and Cincinnati counties. So this is where the issue is, and I'm going to turn everything over to Mr. Patrick Cobb. We got some numbers, commissioners, in your package. He's going to go over a lot of these numbers. So Patrick, go ahead.
Good morning. So as the judge alluded to, we did our audited financials for fiscal year 23. It takes us a couple of months longer to do that as a normal government entity because it takes Medicare and insurance anywhere from 4 to 6 months to pay a bill. So we don't come to you in November or December with an audit financial because at that point we'd still be several $1,000s behind in collecting revenue. But we did get our audited financials. We got those the middle of May. Mills County specifically was $39,000 to the green or above margin. However, Cincinnati County was $202 or $202,000 below margin in the negative. So all total between the two counties bundled together is about 170-ish and change that we were at a deficit. The reason for that is that third ambulance that you share with Cincinnati County, all of the expenses for that, the 6 personnel and then the 3 supervisors that your 2 counties share, those were all charged against Cincinnati's budget and wasn't charged against Mills. So that's why we have to add them together and then come up with whatever the positive or deficit would be. So it's again about 170,000 between the two. So with that, you know, I'm charged by my hospital board to come back and obviously raise a subsidy to offset the deficit moving forward. So between myself, Judge Johnson, and Judge Foley and Cincinnati, we've had several meetings. I know the 2 judges have worked with each other to determine how to split that $250,000 increase between the 2 counties. And Judge, you can allude to what that dollar figure is.
Yes, after we get through our discussion, I've had numerous meetings with Judge Foley and Sabat. Commissioners in our package, you can see that third ambulance is used 36 or 37% of the time, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Which I definitely think we need to keep that third ambulance going from Mills and Cincinnati counties. Now, I've had numerous meetings with Judge Foley, 3 or 4, one in-person meeting like I had with Patrick Cobb.
Yes.
And if it's agreed on by the Commissioners Court, I'm going to make a proposal in a little bit, a motion that we base this on the call volume between Mills and Cincinnati County. And as y'all saw in those numbers, the call volume for that third ambulance was 54.63% for Cincinnati, 45.37% for Mills. So.
Correct. Well, that's the total call volume between the 2 counties. It's about 55%, 7 to 45%, Mills County. The third ambulance that the judge talked about, the one that you share between yourselves and San Saba, 39% of the calls in either San Saba or Mills are answered by that extra truck, the one that you share between the 2. Which means if the funding's not changed, then that third truck would have to go away. Which means 39% of your calls, they're gonna have a response time from a Hamilton or a San Saba or worse. It would be very detrimental to the service to the citizens of Mill and San Saba if that third ambulance went away. Hence the reason why we're trying to keep it. It's definitely proven necessary.
And talking to Judge Foley again this morning, what he's gonna go to his commissioner's court is also based on that call volume. What was it, 54.63%. So doing the percentages, if it's approved by commissioner's court, if we approve this, our new figure would be, instead of 250,000, it'd be $363,425 for Mills County. And since Saba County would be paying roughly another $23,000 more for theirs. And again, that's based on the call
But you said we were still in the green and San Saba was in the name.
Correct. But the reason why City Staff is in the negative, at least as bad as they were, is that all the expenses for that truck that you shared, which is about $600,000, all of that expense is buried on the San Saba books, and it wasn't shared between mills. If we split it 50-50, and next year it will be, this is an auditing correction on my part. Next year it will be split, but if we split it up now, instead of being 39,000 ahead, you would have been 100 and something in the hole, and San Saba would have been 100 something in the hole, because the expenses are split 50-50 between the two of them. So that's the reason why y'all above and they're below.
But did we not, last year, did we not redo the contract?
You took no action and let the contract auto renew. Correct. So you're in your first year of a 5-year automatic renewal.
And what does that mean?
It means that you don't have, as far as the length of the contract is concerned, you don't have to take any action for another 4 years on the length of the contract.
And Patrick, regarding audit, I presume each year we'll be having audits for next year moving forward, right?
Correct. We do every year. This is the first time that we've had a negative deficit like this, and we're having to overcome.
I think you told me a new ambulance's cost is how much? 400,000?
Oh, yeah, it's, we just bought 2 trucks at $781, so it's about $390,000 a piece, and that's empty. Of course, we replaced the Mills County truck back in February. You have no ambulance here in Mills County since February, but yeah, they're exceptionally expensive.
And I will remind the Commissioner's Court that we do have the level 4 service in Hamilton EMS, the ambulance service, correct?
Right, so we're licensed at the mobile intensive care unit level. There's 4 levels for EMS licensure in Texas. MICU being the highest, and we do have that highest level of licensure, which has to do with personnel, equipment, and medications. That's what certifies the truck.
Okay.
Question is, I know you can't predict the future, but are you gonna come back next year and say, hey, our audits went up again and we're gonna have to go up again? And so I think I'm just following on what Dale's asking.
Sure.
Where does our contract need, I mean, you're just gonna keep coming back, and where does our contract play any role?
So the contract does have a clause in it that if there's definitely a change in the, economic pressure, market pressure, et cetera, and we have a deficit, obviously we can come back and request a subsidy increase. Between you and I think a lot of our budgets for everybody is going to determine what is going to be based on what happens in November. I personally think that for the last 3 years or 3.5 years of COVID and the negative economy we've had, that everybody suffered through increased fuel, increased supply expenses, increased personnel, that we're finally having to catch up to it. We haven't had to the last 3 years. But to answer your question, I do not want to come back and do this every year.
I mean, so could we do it as a one-time thing and then reapproach it next year, or do you think this is gonna remain as constant? Because you said we didn't share the cost of the original. You kind of see what I'm saying, the purchase of the third unit and all that other stuff, or is it just gonna always?
I think it do, but I think the price is gonna, I think the cost of us providing the service isn't gonna go down any. I don't see wages going down. I don't see supplies and equipment in price going down. I think the level that we've unfortunately been victimized to up to this point, I don't see national prices going down. And that's really what's driving this.
Have they, one of them that are in, have they made massive Medicare changes in what they pay on?
Yes, and that's actually part 2 of today's discussion. So part 1 is the subsidy. Part 2 is there is several changes in federal Medicare reimbursement laws that take effect September the 1st. Specifically, they're called ERISA, ERISA, if you have the time to Google it and read about it. But essentially, we have to publish our rates in the contract. So in addition to hopefully getting the subsidy approved, we're also going to add an appendix to this current contract that has our rates that we charge. Because federal law changes say that if we publish our rates in the contract, then Medicare and the commercial insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United, pick one, then they would have to reimburse us for actually the rates that we charge because they're in the contract. If we don't publish the rate and set it in the contract, then Medicare and the commercial insurance providers, they only have to reimburse us at Medicare allowable. That's the difference between $1,600 a transport versus reimburse $700 a transport. So obviously, we're going to add the appendix with your approval, add the appendix that has our rates published in the contract. So Medicare and the commercial insurance companies have to reimburse us at the higher rate. If they don't, we will have to come back year after year because we can't survive. No EMS provider can survive on Medicare minimum reimbursement. Again, it's the difference between about $1,600 a transport versus $700 a transport for Medicare. This has a very damaging effect on the budget. And that's not just us, that's nationwide.
But at one time we had had a discussion in the past couple of years with, if Medicare paid, it paid a lot higher than what a private pay was for ambulance. Right.
So for us specifically, yes, it does. Remember, we're Part A Medicare, and I'm trying not to get too far in the weeds. But yes, our Medicare rate is higher than a commercial ambulance company, an AMR or an Acadian or an Allegiance, any of the commercial ambulance providers. They're not a Part A cost reimbursed system, but it only applies to Medicare patients, which is only about 55% of the patients we transport. The other 45% are not affected by that at all. So it only helps us about half the patients.
And we might need to shut up once you finish.
I'm good. I'm just answering what you need to.
Okay.
I guess my understanding of the contract is until the contract expires, that it would be X number of dollars.
Sure.
You know, that's what a contract is, but I do understand that everything's
Going up.
not like it used to be.
Like I said, I do not want to do this every year either.
But so actually, when y'all came in, I wasn't here, y'all took over the ambulance that the Bell County had.
Correct.
And nobody expected that all that service for 50,000, but it wasn't 50,000. I don't know how long that lasted.
3 years, if I remember correctly.
Then they go to 125,000.
Yes.
From 80.
Great, so we did a graduated step. So when I first came to Hamilton, that was October of 18. Judge Smith got elected in November of 18, if my memory serves me correctly. And then in December of 18, before the judges changed, the contract actually expired. So by the time Judge Smith became county judge, we were on a month to month at 50,000 a year. And so to get EMS, and you were grossly in the red on that one. And so to get it fixed, we did 250,000, but I think we did a 2 or 3 year graduated increase from 50 to 250 to get it there.
Now, remind before there are some counties about our size doing their own ambulance service, it's costing a whole lot more money.
Correct.
That,
Yeah.
but we're still sitting out there spending county taxpayers' money. And then also, if they are on Medicare, we're spending taxpayers' money to make Medicare.
Yes, sure. You sure are.
We're spending taxpayers' money in several different directions
Correct.
for the same.
And,
same thing.
you know, sharing that discussion with you, we see the same thing on the hospital side with the hospital district. You know, you're not part of the hospital district per se. But folks that are part of the Hamilton County Hospital District, it's the same scenario. Even if they're not in an ambulance, we're still having to subsidize Medicare costs for hospital or clinic health care with the same issues with Medicare that you're alluding to. It affects all of us.
Okay, commissioners, questions, comments?
And so San Saba's meeting today too, or?
I believe they're meeting today,
They're discussing.
I don't know if they're discussing this today. I think Judge Foley was gonna do this in July.
it's gonna wait a little bit to do
We'll
it.
wait till we made a decision.
There you go. You're the trendsetter, man.
Yeah.
He's gonna go next.
And he can sell it to his commissioners for a little bit.
And to be fully transparent, Land Passes is following San Saba. It's not just Mills and
Yeah.
San Saba, it's all of you. That I'm having to do this with, because they're. Bill, to be honest with you, Mills County was the only one in the green, everyone else was in the red, and ironically, by about the same amount. Land Passes was 181, for example, below margin. So I'm having to do the same discussion and renegotiation with them as well. So it's not just Mills and San Saba.
Fun job, huh, Patrick?
This year's been quite entertaining.
Well, Commissioners, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion based on the call volume that we approve the new EMS contract with Mills County share of $363,425.
So we remove, are we doing the contract?
Well, this EMS budget, excuse me, EMS budget, sorry.
So you're gonna bring the contract back to us, correct?
I'm gonna bring it back to you with the rates added as an appendix in the back, and I'll just change the dollar amount, but the term of the contract stays the same.
So all we're doing is talking about adding it to the budget.
Budget.
Correct.
Right there. Joy, did I confuse you on that first motion? Can you change it?
So are we voting on?
Well, I made a motion, well, I need to rephrase that motion is what we're getting at. Is it best, Gerald, just to let the motion die, possibly if it does?
You could rephrase.
I can rephrase the motion.
Say it again.
Let me rephrase the motion. I'll make a motion for the Hamilton EMS budget to be a figure of $363,425. How's that sound? Okay.
Which will still have to go through the budget process and be approved.
So it's like go through the budget process.
If you approve it today, you're approving it.
It's done to do it today, it's,
Correct.
so it doesn't change in the budget.
Yeah.
So you don't know how it's gonna affect your budget, whether it's gonna,
Other stuff.
Okay. There's my motion. Did I hear a second? Go ahead, Patrick.
Effective October 1st.
What now? Effective October the 1st.
We don't want to change your thing.
Yeah.
That'll cause a budget amendment.
So there's my motion again for the Hamilton EMS budget of $363,425 effective October the 1st. There's my motion, Commissioners.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, second by Commissioner Williams. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I think maybe we should have waited.
Okay, so we got 2 in favor, 2 against. We don't have we're gonna have a tie.
Fail.
Motion fails. Okay. Well, we'll see what we're gonna do. May I make a option, Commissioners? Do y'all want to get rid of the 3rd ambulance or what y'all thinking on this?
No, I think we should probably wait and see what the other counties are saying.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So can we put this on the next agenda and have it re-discussed on the next agenda? Is that what y'all want?
That would be fine.
Okay.
Okay, we'll put it on the next agenda. Mr. Cobb, you may have to come back again in 2 weeks or so.
And you'll Judge Foley.
I'll get with Judge Foley again. So anyway,
Okay.
motion fails. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, let's back up. Since I see Miss Lori Friedgren, y'all take care. Lori, good morning. We're gonna do now, we're gonna go back to number 5. Considering actually Mills County, Mills Central Appraisal District budget. Commissioners, in y'all's packages, you will see the proposed budget for Mills County appraisal. Let me get to my notes, Lori. And Lori, everything's pretty well about the same as it was last year. You had a slight increase, I believe, on some software.
Yes, sir.
You had a few decreases, and again, Ms. Lori Friedrichs, the interim chief appraiser, correct, from Mills County Appraisal District.
Yes, sir.
Liz Alfredsburg, so thank you for coming. Lori, we do this every year, and again, the numbers you presented to us for the 2025 budget was roughly $538,000 versus $522,000 the previous year, which is roughly a $16,000 increase. And again, there's a few increases. I know postage is going up quite a bit. Y'all spend a lot of money on postage.
Yes, we're
And some
required to
calls.
send a lot of certified letters. We also had some required software that we had to add to the budget that came out of the legislative session last year. So there were no options on that. The other one is health insurance.
Okay.
So those are the three biggest things that cost the budget to go up this year.
Okay. And I know you are still trying to look for possibly another ag person or something to come in.
Yes, we are actively looking for a new appraiser, and that person is included in this budget.
Okay. All right, commissioners, questions for Ms. Lori?
Sure. So we're here for. I realize the company that basically you are part of does our appraisal. Would there ever be a possibility, and I know y'all have a board that can represent them, I think that the appraisal needs to be done on the foot. And else.
From somebody. The appraisal district, yes, sir. So I certainly understand your feelings on that. What happens is, especially in these smaller counties, is you get somebody hired, you spend 5 years getting them trained, getting their certification. And then they can go somewhere else and make more money. That's more often than not what happens.
Jesus, right?
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
But I just wonder personally, if we're not losing much. Taxable assets. It's because I might be wrong, but I'm sure the whole county is not looked at. Only we're here about as far as insurance.
Well, so what happens is the county is divided into thirds, and there is a complete reappraisal in that 1/3 of the county every year. What happens then on in the areas where there's not a complete reappraisal done, then we have where we get deed information or we get permit information, we gather information all year, and then we go out to those other areas. Are there some that are missed? You know, I can't say that 100% everything that needs to be picked up is picked up. But that it wouldn't be any different if you had an in-house appraiser. They would still work that 1/3 every year. And then pick up the other houses and improvements, do what we need to do throughout the rest of the county, like we're doing now.
But it's basically not marketable.
No, sir.
No.
Not necessarily. No, sir. If there's a locked gate or, for whatever reason we can't get in there, we will look at it through Google Earth just as a means to get an idea of what's out there. And if we have to estimate at that point, we can do that as well.
And we're still in contract with the company out of Abilene, correct? The
Yes.
consulting company is, what's her name again?
Western valuation.
Western Baylor. Okay.
So did they cut you on the insurance? Why was jumping up too much?
I had a conversation with our agent, and that was just what she felt like was safe. The board has instructed us to shop around and see if we can get a little bit lower rates, but we wanted to make sure that we didn't go over budget.
Okay.
That's hard, yeah.
You have to remember that the appraisal district is an entity on its own, so we're not part of the county. We don't get a better rate because those are.
In most places, just individual ours is very high, so.
and that could be, but we are going to shop that around and see if there's.
I didn't know y'all had a lot of claims or something that made y'all jump up, because that's usually what it causes.
It's just, what she gave me was just a safe estimate for budgeting.
And so you haven't had, the other one, you haven't had an assistant that y'all put out last year for 32,000 or something like that. That we were approached that they were gonna do, somebody to help with the wildlife exemptions and all that other stuff. That young lady left and y'all never replaced her this last year.
Right,
And so you're still got that position available.
that one is available
Are
and
you
it's
trying to
posted.
get both of those going this next year or what?
Yes, sir. It's posted for an appraiser position. And
So you have two positions posted.
no, sir, we have one. The chief appraiser position has not been posted yet.
Will be soon, I presume, or?
The board is still in discussion
Okay.
on exactly what avenue they want to pursue.
That's kind of weird. Looks like you posted job that you had open.
But I think, and I have to, you got it posted, but it's been close to a year, I guess. And so much of this stuff and those kind of should not be in the law. So, I don't know, I know it's on that is on.
Right, and that's the reason we recently posted this position for appraiser. That will be what their job was. And the board felt like we needed to concentrate on that, get one thing accomplished at a time. And so that's why that appraiser position is now posted.
Okay, Commissioners, any other questions from Ms. Lori? Hearing none, I'll make a proposal, a motion that we approve the Mills Central Appraisal District budget.
So no. Some of this is kind of weird. This is different. Really, we don't approve it. It's just that we send it back to the board for non-approval. Correct. And so it's worded differently. It's not like it's approval differently. But if you have all your entities, if you have 3 or 4 out of your entities that is approved, then it's that fast. That's right.
That's correct. After we adopt the budget, if we have 3/4 of our entities that want to reject that budget, then we have to go back to the drawing table.
So it doesn't matter if we approve it or not, you can reject it and send it back, and then that's their direction that they go.
What y'all have done in the past is approve it.
Correct,
There's
but we
been a
don't have to.
motion each year.
You don't have to.
Well, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, and you don't have to do anything, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, the county doesn't have total control over their budget. It has to be approved by other entities.
And so, yeah, the way I understand this information goes to our budget process to do our budget.
Well, at some point, you're either gonna have to approve it or not.
You approve the budget. You don't actually have to approve this.
We always have,
That is the budget.
The county's budget.
Oh, okay.
You approve it in the county budget. But we can right now, we have several times, several years. I know many years when Kirk was here, we did not approve the appraisal district's budget, but we were the only entity that did not approve it. And so it ended up passing and going forward as presented.
Do y'all still have to go to all these other entities?
Yes, sir. Each entity received a copy of the budget. Everybody got that at the same time.
okay, any other questions? I've made a motion already to approve the Mills Central Appraisal District budget. Do I hear a second? Hearing none, I presume the motion has died. Commissioners, any other discussion or comments?
I'm kind of like what Dale said with sends out. I kind of like to see what the other entities have to say about this and reach out to them and see where they stand on this. I'm a little shocked that we're not looking for a new chief deputy, or chief appraiser. That's a little disheartening, but we're looking for an ag appraiser.
Again, the board felt like that's where the priority needed to lie because chief appraiser's duties are covered. So we felt like we wanted to get that started and going and get somebody in here to work that.
We can look at this again, commissioners. Y'all let me know what you want me to gather for you before our next meeting or in a month, 2 weeks or a month or whatever. If we don't need more information on this budget process, but what I'm hearing, I just want to wait to see what other entities do. And that's what I think. That's Jason.
Well, I think with y'all having your own board, we've tried to stay out of the way of this whole. It's gonna call it what I think it is mess that they've been going through. So, that y'all board have their chance to, I guess, do what they want to, but inevitably, I think it starts affecting your taxable value. Through the wildlife extension, through the migratory bird extension stuff. I think that needs to be worked on, but definitely, and I've been looking for a cheap price, and I know that the people aren't out. But like I said, a while ago, I do think, I think it's been to the county, my cost from the first, I think it's been to the county to get this stuff back on the ground.
Which is what we're working on.
But it's not that.
We do not have an ag appraiser hired, no, sir.
Okay, anything else, commissioners? We can readdress this, if y'all want something added to the next commissioner's report, Laura, we'll keep working with you. And let me know what y'all want to do, and motion failed. So Lori, thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
We'll be visiting with you again soon. Pardon?
I apologize for being late.
No problem, we work around it. Okay, motion's failed, and we'll keep looking into this. Thank you, Lori, have a good day, you can go ahead and leave. Commissioners, number 9, consider an act on request for public assistance through FEMA's grants. To let the public, everyone know, we had about a 2-hour meeting last week at the Law Enforcement Center. We had probably 25 people there. We had 4 people from Tatum. We had 2 people from Con Resnick, which works with Tatum on these grants and whatnot through FEMA. It's a pretty productive workshop. They addressed many topics during this session. And Commissioner Williams, do you want to add any comments to it from FEMA perspective?
Well, what I got out of it, it's gonna be a lot of work.
Yes.
Talk to many different people, many different counties. We're gonna have to be prepared to, once we get it going. And I kind of told Dale this, once we get it going, I think we'll be all right. It's just that initial getting it, and it's gonna be hard for us precincts to come up with documentation when we haven't been doing it. And so that's gonna be the hard part. The funds that the government is willing to help us out would be a blessing to the precincts.
Yeah, I think we need to pursue that.
Downside of it is we got to make sure that we're gonna, I really don't see how we can do it without getting help. And so if my thing is, I don't have a problem of applying for the assistance, for the public assistance grant, but we're gonna have some assistance, either financially hiring somebody or going through the Group Z that they presented, different things like that, to help us with this. We already know it's going to add a tremendous workload on the treasurer's office, a tremendous workload. It's going to add a tremendous workload on whoever's emergency coordinator is, which that line item to discuss.
Yeah, we'll discuss that next.
I just briefly talked with Sheriff Bull. I briefly talked with Sheriff Jones-elect, and their plate being full and being new and all that other stuff. I don't know if that's the direction that we need to be pushing this EMC type thing. I don't know 100% on what your schedule is and all your stuff that you're doing. But either it goes back to your office or we're gonna have to
Yeah.
have help with that.
Well, we can start off in my office. My understanding is, assuming I will accept this, and we'll discuss that next. We can still look at hiring someone if we find that person later to help us, which I think in 08, 09, we did have an individual in Mills County helping on the.
Yeah, and I mean, we could go over there's different things, different directions we can do. The big thing is does this commissioner's court want to go the public assistance route for FEMA? I know Tatum and I know Holly has been awful gracious to us to help us out. I mean, Holly, you want to add anything? I mean,
Yeah, Holly Ramsdale, please.
Tatum has been really good to help us through this process. But they're part of this is guidance.
Yes,
They're not gonna do it for us.
that's why you have me, because I'm not gonna do it for you, but I'm gonna sit there with you and help you do
And
it.
so,
So a couple of things, just a reminder, last Friday, I don't know if you checked your email, but last Friday, our next step is to send in our application for a request of public assistance. That deadline was supposed to be on the July sixth, that got moved to August 9th.
I got that email, send it out.
So
is that
that
a
got,
good thing or a bad thing?
in our case, good, because we're trying to make decisions, we're trying to figure out who's gonna be in this position, that is somewhat of a good thing. So that gives us time to make these decisions and make who you're gonna put in that spot to take on that role to send in that request. So it did help us out because now you aren't pressured to hurry up and decide. So that gives you a little bit over a month, a little over a month to.
So the commissioner, I sent that email, came in Friday and I forwarded it to everybody.
And again, the request for public assistance that's due by August 9th, it's not very detailed. So after we did our damage assessments, I went with the chief commissioners, we did our damage assessments. We did what was called a disaster summary outline, a DSO. I worked with Sheriff Poole and Melissa to put that into the computer. And what it was all of our damages, that long email that I sent you of every county road we went to and how much we put that information into this disaster summary outline. We will be using that data on our request for public assistance that is due August 9th. So it's not a terrible application. It's not anything crazy, but it has a very hard deadline now. August 9th is the hard deadline. You can't do it August 10th. You have to do it before August 9th. So that deadline is really hard. Once we send that in, after that is when the hard part starts. That's when all that paperwork, they're gonna call y'all. That y'all got the paper on last Thursday in the briefing. It kind of looks like a board game, and it tells you the steps of the process. And once you get past the RPA, which is the request for public assistance that's due August 9th, you start having multiple phone calls. You start having multiple Zoom meetings. They start sending you 50 million emails about, I need this kind of paperwork, I need this, I need this. I need that certain person in there that's gonna get those emails and be on those calls, that are able to be on those calls whenever they are. To do that. So that's, I know we're not on that agenda item yet, but when y'all start thinking about who you're gonna do, make sure that they can be available for those calls and those Zoom meetings and answering those emails. So just.
So if we approve this today to do public assistance, we don't have to go out and do the application today.
Not today. You have to get it done by August 9th. August 9th is your hard deadline. You have to get it done by August 9th.
So that would give us a couple of weeks.
I mean, we can come back in 2 weeks and discuss it again. And it's again.
One thing, Holly,
If you have more questions, I can meet with y'all again and we can sit down. I can bring Matt back to the table and sit with y'all again too. Because he's always available under our beck and call. He is our recovery coordinator for Mills County. He does multiple.
Okay, just make sure we're talking.
Yes.
Great,
In Comanche County? Yeah.
Friday morning. Talked to her about an hour, the big difference that I see. One is the way it's funded. The county pays roughly half. the entities, Mansion, Gustine, the city pay the other.
Cover itself.
Emergency management coordinator, yes.
The whole building in those counties, you really only have one.
Right.
So whether go, whether you pay and not, I don't know. You're saying there, you on the tax bill, city of Mullen has no money, that's the only other. So you're really not gonna get any funding.
So when it comes to this public assistance, that is not gonna fund an EMC position. That's not what this purpose is. This purpose is to fund some, for the flooding, the disaster that happened, the damage you resolved. Now, when we talk about category C, that only funds administration work that is for the flooding or the damage, not your whole.
It's not the whole
EMC.
EMC.
So Marsha Hardy out of Santa, the same situation. She gets paid partially by the county, partially by the city. I would suggest if that's something later on that y'all want to look into getting an EMC. I know y'all used to have a full-time one many, many moons ago. Look in the past and see what y'all did in the past. Cause again, I'm not familiar, cause it's been, y'all haven't had a full-time EMC.
Since story that.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Well, that's not technically true because it's, when I came into office, Clint was it and Tatum was reimbursing us a portion of his salary.
Yeah, that was, and that's no longer, that
Right,
reimbursement
right.
is no longer a thing.
So the Z part will not pay the work.
Not for an EMC. So an EMC, when a county hires an EMC, they do way more than just disasters. The county has a basic plan, they have a hazard mitigation plan, they work with all the school districts on all of their plans that are required by the TEA. So an EMC does way more than just a disaster or damage. When you hire a county EMC, I mean, you need to go to the sheriff's office, they got that big old binder that has annexes A through Z of if a disaster hits, what's your policy? And that is a state of Texas and a federal government requirement.
But you do have an EMC, she said you asked.
Well,
Just.
so it's the judge controls it by statute, and then we've
So
appointed.
you,
Sure.
you used to have Clint Hammonds, y'all appointed Clint Hammonds as sheriff / EMC. You appointed him, gave him, delegated the EMC authority to him. When Sheriff Poole came in, he pretty much took that delegation of EMC as well. Every county, the county judge is also, their other title is emergency management director. So most counties, because the judge has so many duties, delegate that to a different individual. So Trish out of Comanche County, Judge Davis delegated, pays Trish as an EMC. Santa out of Judge Foley delegates his EMC stuff to Marsha Harvey and pays Marsha. So things like that. So y'all have delegated the sheriff, whoever's in the sheriff's position, take on that role. And a lot of times that's hard wearing those two major hats.
But also, like, this with her. Ever since the 06, 07 flooding, and they've had it like 3 or 4 times since then. They have had an EMC, not just because of being.
Right.
Their road progress and everything has been documented since 06, 07.
Yeah.
Millis County does not have any.
So that's another thing, then a positive thing about having one individual in that seat is they provide you assistance. That's my whole point when we talk about these. If you had someone just in the EMC spot, they would be doing this whole thing for you. You wouldn't be having to do it. Now you might have to provide the paperwork. She'd have to provide that person paperwork. But they would be doing these applications and doing these phone calls and doing these things. So see that's.
And there is, I mean, if we want to go that route, I mean, you've got, from what I got from that meeting last week, is that we'll have to go out, we'll have to create a job description, you have to go out, you gotta put it out for bid, you gotta do all that, you gotta do the procurement side of it.
But again, you're gonna hire an EMC, FEMA's not gonna reimburse.
Right, but if you're gonna hire one for the contract,
Just
thing,
for damage and.
you still gotta post it, you gotta do all that stuff and go through the
process.
procurement program that they require.
And it's reimbursement, y'all, remember this, it's reimbursement. They don't pay that person directly, they pay y'all after you can show proof that you paid them out of your budget. So reminder that, and that's with everything. All of this is reimbursement.
But this is basically not just a payment bill, this is something that we were supposed to have in place.
Well,
Well,
we've always had in place, the director reported.
But
so,
nothing has been done. What I'm saying.
so emergency coordinator can lead you in directions that, you know, that should have prepared us for disasters like this.
Right.
And I mean, I've been here, I'm just as tall because I've been here on sports football and everybody. We've never done type of training or done that. All we've kind of done in precincts is keep a journal of where we've been and what we've done. No pictures, no, that's our documentation. And not even all precincts have done that. If you had had, from what we're hearing from last Thursday, emergency coordinator could have come in once a year and said, okay, this is what you need to do. Dickie Clary, Commissioner Dickie Clary over in Hamilton, said they had the same thing happen to them when they got into FEMA. They had nothing. They had no proof, nothing that first time. But since that first disaster, they kept up and done.
And that's the biggest takeaway now, is we need to learn from this, yeah.
But we didn't have anybody nobody instructed us to keep it up. And then Teresa Strickler, who was here during that FEMA, said that it wasn't passed on to the next 4 or 5 commissioners.
And that's why I keep telling y'all, document that, let's start now, so God forbid it happens again, we know something will happen again, I mean, come on. We're prepared, and when y'all leave, let the next commissioners be prepared. So that's the biggest deal, is because it's just gonna continue to happen. We all know it's gonna flood again, it's gonna drought again, we're gonna have a big fire again. It's not if, it's when. And so, but let's keep that documentation going. But like Matt said, we're gonna work on it. If y'all do decide to go with this, and that's what, you know, that's another thing that they didn't really stress Thursday, but at Hamilton, they stressed Friday, and I wish y'all were there on Friday, because let's go ahead, in my opinion, put the RPA, the request for public assistance, in by August 9th, because then we can say cancel it. But if you don't put it in and decide later you want to do it, you can't. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So I would, my opinion, let's put it in by August 9th, and if August 10th, y'all are like, oh, I don't really, I think it's gonna be too much, we can cancel it, that's fine. It's just, we get to August 10th and say, dang, I should have done it. It's gonna be very difficult to try to get that good of mind.
Oh, one other thing, I know we have a login number, and Matthew Weeks was checking, if you'll coordinate with him, because I don't know what it is, and I've been told we don't need to do a new number for the county, since we already got an existing FEMA number.
So, and that's the next item, that's why we need to decide, or y'all need to decide, who you want to put in that spot for right now, because it can change, we can change it. But who you would like to put in that spot right now, so that we can get that individual the proper login information. And then again, as it goes on, if we need to add people, take away, whatever, we can make that point of contact change. So, but I just need an initial person, and I need to have, of course, their email and their phone number to get them into the system, to get that application by August 9th in. And again, if we change it,
So if we turn in this application tomorrow, we're the process starts.
so then FEMA will receive it, review it, they'll contact us, they'll make sure that y'all went to the applicant briefing, they'll want proof that y'all signed, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll,
Say all the active races you saying what.
but on Thursday, yes, sir, yes, sir, that one on Thursday, and all of y'all are there, so we're safe. Because that is a requirement, that if we request for public assistance, whoever entity is requesting it has to, a representative has to be present at one of those applicant briefings. All 5 of you plus some, all of y'all are there, so we're good there. So once that happens, we'll get assigned a FEMA program manager. They will contact, they'll probably wrote Matthew and myself in there, and maybe probably David too. And then they'll do a phone call with whoever we establish as that point of contact. That phone call will start getting into the weeds a little bit of what paperwork they're gonna be wanting. They're gonna go over those damage assessments to see what they have validated, what they didn't validate, things of that sort. And it's just step by step after that. And again, there's a difference between large projects and small projects. Some of those damage assessments that we did, they'll start combining those into little projects or larger projects and go from there. But that's where we're at right now.
Okay. But you don't really know where they came up with the figure of 300.
And that is a question we're gonna ask on that first phone call.
Well,
Exactly, it could have been one damage assessment, it really could have, and I really don't know. So,
Okay, Commissioners, any other questions from Ms. Holly or any discussion on the public assistance for FEMA grants?
it got pushed to August 9th, so if you need to take time, 2 weeks, we discuss this again, we can't, I'm gonna be here, so.
Okay,
Well, I don't necessarily, we have to, I mean, we're gonna wanna do it, we can go ahead and agree it today.
I agree.
Fill out the application, we don't have to fill out the application until we're ready.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah, I
all
just-
our ducks.
I was gonna recommend, we go ahead and short the process and heard everything Holly said.
And like I said, whoever you establish as the point of contact, I'll make a meeting with them, we can sit down together to do this application.
Okay. Did I hear a motion or anything on this, request for public assistance?
Oh. You doing it?
Go ahead, Commissioner Porton.
Make a motion to go ahead and apply for the public citizen thing.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Porton to approve, to request public assistance through FEMA grants. Second's been made by Commissioner Williams. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, number 10, hang in here, Holly, before you leave. Consider an act on FEMA grant contact representative for Mills County.
But I told y'all,
Yeah.
We have to put that in, we can act.
it really doesn't matter, because now you approved that you want to send in the application, so now who do you want to, be that point of contact that sends in the application?
That can be changed.
So yes, it can. So after we send the application and y'all find somebody else that either is sufficient to go through this process or has more time or whatever y'all decide, we can add them or take, to the grants portal that we discussed. There could be multiple people on the grants portal. It could be the judge, Summer, and Sheriff Poole on the grants portal adding stuff to there. It's not just one person. But you do have to add that primary contact, that primary point of contact.
And that primary contact's gonna be the one that gets all the contact information.
Yes, sometimes. When it comes to paperwork, so after we do the request for public assistance,
All that other.
yes. And we can, again, we can change that. After August 9th, once we send in the request, if it finds out that that person you set cannot meet those meetings, you can add somebody else.
Well, I've stated I was get the ball rolling and be the contact rep for Mills County, starting things off. But I sure think it'd be good if we pursue someone like a Teresa Stricker or someone in Mills County, if we can. Thoughts on that, commissioners?
I think that,
Think by talking to the lady, imagine you're gonna have.
Yeah, I just don't think all the work I've been told is gonna take place. I got plenty on the plate already. I just don't know.
I agree, but I think you'll need to go ahead and establish one contact now,
Yeah.
because we need to get that application in. And then once we get that application in, then we can change switch the torch over to somebody else.
The only other choice I know of is the sheriff, and sheriff, I know your plate's pretty busy too.
I'm good either way.
You want now,
I'm good either way.
either way?
I'm gonna say, you already have the information from the disaster summary outline that we already did, and that's the same information that's gonna be put in this application. So either way, and whoever y'all decide, I'm gonna call that, I'm gonna be with them when we do the application, and I have that information.
You said it can be involved. But
Yes, but you can only do one application, yeah. For the county, you would have the option.
So now by talking to the lady, we are gonna we're gonna be on the daily basis.
Yeah,
Because everything you do for that day, what county road you're on, what equipment,
you have to document it.
has to be documented per hour. For the year, every day. For probably the next couple of years.
5 to 6 years, more likely.
Sheriff, you want to come up here a second? Let me ask you some questions. Well, Sheriff, we already discussed this once. I mean, since you're the coordinator, I mean, I'll be glad to assist. Would you mind having your name on the list starting off, since you're already the coordinator?
No, I don't have any problems with it, Judge. Like Holly said, we did the initial damage assessments in the computer in that, I forget what program it is. But it really wasn't a hard deal, and from talking to Holly, the application process, that stuff just kind of transfers over, and it's not a big lift to do the application part. And I don't have a problem with it.
To be in that contact person.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners, questions for Sheriff Poole?
But find somebody sooner than later, right?
Yeah. Okay. Do I hear a motion on this FEMA grant representative from Mills County?
I make a motion that we, allow the appoint, FEMA grant contact representative for Mills County to be Sheriff Poole.
Okay, motion has been made by Commissioner Williams to appoint Sheriff Poole for a FEMA grant representative for Mills County.
Second.
A second has been made by Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of appointing Sheriff Poole as a contact rep for Mills County on FEMA, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Sheriff. And I think Sheriff, I'll be glad to work with you too, so. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Holly. Moving on to number 11, consider an act on preparing an interlocal agreement with the city of Gold Lake and Mills County to test mine transport material from the city of Gold Lake golf course property in exchange for in-kind works. And Commissioner Williams, this will be yours, sir.
Yeah, so I put this on the agenda so that I could have the permission of the court to go forward with preparing an interlocal agreement. Nothing has been done, nothing has been set in stone. I have met with the Gold Lake Municipal Golf Course out there and talked to them about some projects that they might be, and then us in turn mining some material on the backside of the golf course. When I originally reached out to this with the city told me I had to talk to the golf course. So I went and talked to the golf course, and their first comment, well, what did the city say? So anyway, but to that, I think there is a direction that both entities could help each other in this. The golf course needs a few things, and we need a few things, and they can help each other scratch it in the back. Again, I would once if the court approves me to go on with this interlocal or start preparing this, I'll make sure I get with the county attorney and then go meet with the city council and make sure everything's good on that, and then also include the golf course board in that. But I wanted to not be hidden around any corners or anything like that, and get it to the commissioner's board.
What kind of in-kind works would you be?
In-kind works, there's several things that have come up. One's like golf cart paths that are deteriorated that you can't even drive down. Cleaning up some debris and trees and stuff like that with heavy equipment. Digging a holding 1 acre pond or whatever like that, and we get the material out of that. There's other things that there's on the back side of the golf course right now. I don't know what the holes, one directly down from the runway. What that is, but anyway, there's a ton of material from when they built the reservoir in the airport that's there. That stuff needs to be crushed and get that out of there. It's been sitting there for many, many years. That would be cleaning up that process there. There's 2 ways into that area that wouldn't affect the actual golf course itself. They also have parking lots that need to be maybe upgraded. There's a lot of in-kind stuff that we could do. It wouldn't take necessarily, it's not much different than what we do with Mullen, Mullen High School, Mullen's City of Mullen. But it's not much different than us doing material from a landowner. You know, we gotta build a road for them before we even get the material and crush it and all that.
Okay.
So basically on Bell Mine, we're not getting anything for
You're
retirement.
not getting anything.
That's just the deal. The only thing I can say on this is, since we elected to go this opposite direction, if you do the in-kind work bill, and that bill does pass, you're not gonna come on the 13th.
You can on like getting the crusher and going out, and so you're gonna have a location. And from that meeting on Thursday, you can't purchase land, we got that real quick, yeah, Thursday. You gotta have your own direction where you can go with that, so until we get. Because Mike had a gentleman that was interested in maybe selling us some land, but we figured out that didn't work through the FEMA side of it.
But if you do the in-kind work, it won't work for you.
Well, they're not, the FEMA's not gonna pay for the impact work, but they would pay for us getting the
Well,
find, crushed.
they did, I mean, they did say something about where you can, on the donated material where you, well, you,
If the owner will give you a.
yeah,
Yardage.
right.
And that could be that, I mean, again, we have to set that up and start that process, but I wanted to go ahead, if we're gonna go FEMA. We're gonna have to, me, my precinct, and Mike would love this area of where it's at. It would be amazing for our two precincts, the location wise. Again, the city would have to approve this and all this other stuff too, so.
County Attorney Hill, you're familiar with the golf course, do you have any comments or anything on this?
You know, as I recall, Jason touched on, I think we've done some of this before, not in connection with the golf course of the city, but with private individuals. I think it was Mike's precinct, where if I recall right correctly, and I probably don't, I think we adopted some sort of policy or something, so that so many loads of police equated to so many hours of machine work. Did we do something like that?
We have an agreement that we're supposed to do with the landowner, that we go in and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We agree, this is what we're gonna do, so many hours, so many, yeah, there's a.
I mean, the county can't give anything away, but you can bargain something. You can pay something or contribute machine hours if you're getting something in return. I mean, that's basic law of what the county can do. So I guess first thing you need to do is figure out if there's anything out there we can use.
Well, and again, I had it on the agenda, if you notice, it's been removed, I was gonna have a testing company come out there and test that. But from Thursday's meeting, they recommended that we had multiple, bids to do that, not just pick one out of the newspaper. And, you need to do that procurement type thing so that you can get that reimbursed on the FEMA stuff. So that's why I had it removed, because I got two more. I need to at least get a couple more.
Well, Commissioner Williams, I'm for it because every precinct needs a work material, police bay, so anywhere we get it, yes, all.
Just want to remind you on the FEMA side, that if the cleat or material is getting donated, you're not gonna get reimbursed for that, but it will be added to the 25% match that you have to do with FEMA. FEMA will reimburse you 75%, and the county will have to pay 25%. If you have documentation stating that it was donated, then that would be added to that 25% the county is responsible for.
Yes, from Matthew is that they would pay for like crushing and stuff like that to come in. And
Yes, but again, just a reminder, document that material was donated from the landowner, golf course, wherever y'all do that, make sure that gets documented. And again, I agree with you on the procurement thing. You can't just do favoritism or just pick one out of the pot. You have to go out for bid, you have to do the whole process when it comes to that. So
And
yes.
Judge, Ms. Gaspar is here, if she wants to say anything from the golf course board, you're good. Okay.
Mary Ann, you would like to speak for about 5 or 10 minutes?
Okay, but I mean, it would have to be an interlocal agreement, we'd have to go to the city, because it's city property.
Yeah.
Still haven't figured out how the golf course part of that is, but anyway, it would take basically three of us to do it, but I want permission to go forward to this or not permission to go forward with this. So that's what I'm at.
Well, we need police for every precinct. So, you want to make a motion there, Commissioner Williams?
I make a motion that, Commissioner Court allows precinct 4 commissioner to work on an interlocal agreement between the city of Gulf Lake and Mills County for testing, mining, and transport of materials through an interlocal agreement works.
Okay. Motion's been made by Commissioner Williams, second has been made by Commissioner Parton. Any other discussion? All those in favor of preparing interlocal agreement, City of Gulf Lake, Mills County, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 12, consider an act to allow precinct 4 to declare a Ford 6610 tractor with a boom shredder or surplus equipment to be sold at live oak auction. Commissioner Commissioner Williams, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have an old Ford tractor, works, go out and start it right now, get on it. It has no cab on it, it's a boom shredder, an Alamo. That boom shredder has been repaired many times, but it does work. It will go today if you want, somebody wanted it. If not, it's been sitting there for about 3 years. Been used once in 3 years, so I want to get rid of it.
Okay, Commissioners?
We talked a little this morning, I don't know when it's time to use it. Sure don't think you need more than. But I would like to look at it for Johnson Bradshaw, not so much, shredded turkeys.
Okay.
It's just-
Johnson Bradshaw. Thing. Maybe it'll work.
So you better. I mean, we put it back in there and look at it again, or we can go ahead and surplus it and you don't fit it. Doesn't mean you have to sell it.
I mean, you got that other tractor. So,
I know, but sometimes when you just got Johnson grass and you've got the other tractor, I don't see it. If it's functional. I know it's not a cat in there.
I would run it before you make that decision. Because you're gonna get stuff swinging at you. It comes back at you and bites you.
Okay, so Commissioners, what do you want to do with this?
Sounds like we're on the table.
Table it, okay.
Make a motion that we table the driving of the Ford 66 tractor.
Okay, motion's been made by, who made the motion? Commissioner Williams to table number 12 about the Ford 6610 tractor, the table.
second.
Commissioner Head made the second motion. All those in favor of tabling number 12 on the Ford 66 tractor for a later date, say aye. Aye. Okay, we'll table that for another day. Number 13, consider an act to allow precinct 4 to declare miscellaneous equipment as surplus equipment to be sold at livestock auction.
You can see there's a list of stuff and. Get me sure. Most of it is really good stuff.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to allow person for the. Sell this one, this equipment.
okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Parton to allow precinct 4 to declare miscellaneous equipment as surplus equipment. Second's been made by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of allowing this to be surplus equipment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 14, budget discussion. One of the things on budget discussion was, back to FEMA, about what we're gonna do on that. As far as we're gonna try to hire someone, we need to put that in the budget. I know, Commissioner Williams, you said go through the process, we gotta go through,
Well, I mean, that's one thing we gotta do with the process, but you gotta, it's a reimbursement program, so you gotta make sure you have the money there, or you're gonna go with that, so if we were going to try to go out and hire somebody, we gotta make sure where right now is in our funding that we can pay for that person until we get reimbursed. So that's on that side of it. Again, you're creating a new job. It's not in the budget. You have to help me out on my statement here, but I don't know how you would I don't know what you would use for last year, I mean, this current budget to hire somebody new to create a new position. I know that it can be done, I just don't know exactly how to say that in the current budget.
And as far as payment too, what kind of payment would we use?
Well, that's what we decide, I mean. Teresa Strickler was here, and that's many, many years ago, you're looking at, she was about 27,000. I do not know what the word blessed got. And
Well, she was emergency
she
coordinator.
was an emergency coordinator in Kingsbury. And so I would have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
That total there, but,
That might be something too, is we're so close alike, to say it's out of town, it's not something you wanna talk to Judge Polly.
oh, so she's making right now for the county is 16,000, but the city's doing something, doing a portion of that.
So it's such a life.
And then Comanche's kind of the, you know, is he a leader? Hamilton is a joint type situation, has several different positions there.
You know,
So,
it'd be good if, you know, if we get someone from Sabre to work with or something like that, that's got experience. I will reach out to Judge Foley, this week on several topics and, we can come back to Commissioner's Court, folks in 2 weeks. And see what information I can bring back to you in this matter.
Well, before you talk about the discussion, something that just came up, it will have to be discussed now or within the next couple of weeks. As to another $137,000 for
EMS and the passes.
all budget.
right.
Yeah.
So where does everybody stand on monies to do the TIP grants?
If you had a chance to research that again, let me remind the court that you need 2 weeks' notice to the lady Victoria McKee in Brownwood. Before you start, they'll send a representative out to look to approve it.
But I'm talking money, we're talking money. So do y'all have money to do that? Because that's a reimbursement.
We've been kind of setting, because my biggest fear is that if we get involved in this payment, that's gonna be 9 hours for a long time. And this other has to be done in April of next year. So I think that money, as far as I'm concerned, it is a.
Well, I just didn't know, I mean, it's talking next year's budget, and we're gonna try to budget and include that in our budgets. And then we can try, because you got it included in this year's budget. And so. Yeah, because that's.
With this year, but that, other than the time frame, it really is not costing your budget. You gotta have the money, and the way we're doing it, we're gonna do it, but you don't get 90% of that money back. That long as you have a shot here, and you're gonna spend it, but you're bring it back.
Okay.
Me personally, I kind of figure on that state deal, I was gonna basically shoot it for the beginning of next budget.
So in the new budget cycle.
I mean, I'm okay, but I got several projects I'd like to do now.
So
Which
did
is
you
gonna put
include
me,
that, did you include that in your budget when you had it?
that's, yes.
So you're looking to the CTI effect on one.
They're not famous projects or.
Well, I mean, it's like trying to get, yeah, I guess it would fall under FEMA project, but I mean, it's, you know, I still got one road that's closed, and I'm gonna try, that we're gonna start on this week, try to open up and just, I got several roads that need some material on it where it's been washed real bad. So, I mean, it's kind of chips into where the money I've been setting on.
I guess my biggest deal on that, kind of a holly question, I guess. We take pictures, but a washed out road does not look. You can take pictures from, unless you got somebody standing in a 4-foot ditch. It just don't look that bad. Well, like right now, there for a while, we were temporary fixing. Well, now we're kind of to the point where we are fixing.
Right.
And we're documenting that. I mean, hauling new dirt. Actually fixing the road and a FEMA representative comes out. And looks at the pictures and they don't look that bad, and then they look at the road that's been redone and say, well, I just don't see it. Doing.
My thing is take before and after pictures. So you take the before picture of the washout. And then you take the after picture, and you're gonna see a difference in those pictures, or at least you
But
should,
it didn't, for me, but.
potentially, as long as we have the right documentation, and yeah, I mean,
Material cost and.
right, time sheets, labor costs, machine costs, all of that. The other part about that is, and we discussed it a couple times, was we had how many thunderstorms and flooding events in the month of May? And as long as y'all documented, okay, May 6th, I temporarily fixed this road, documented that it washed out. Well, then a week later, we had another flood that washed out again. That is perfect documentation, that if you have pictures and documentation stating, all right, well, it washed out this day, then it washed out a week later. That gives them even more proof that it keeps washing out. I keep fixing it and keeps washing out. As a mitigation thing, but that also gives you documentation that it actually is a problem and it actually did happen due to the flooding and the disaster. So I know y'all had a couple of sites that were like that too.
But right now. We're documenting, but we're not documenting what FEMA wants to.
Talking to,
Are they talking to other counties? Are they figures, what machines were used? Who was running them?
Before
I mean,
photos too, yeah.
well,
And we need to start doing that now. We need to, and yes. Like Matthew said, like I said, like the two gentlemen from the other company said. Yes, y'all don't have a lot of documentation from previous disaster or pre-disaster. But you do have documentation of when it happened and when your temporary or permanent fixes were occurring. Keep that up. Keep up with those pictures. Start now. We will send them everything we've got and do our best of what we've got. Because somewhat they understand what, that we don't have pre-disaster pictures. We don't have pre-disaster things. But you do have time sheets, you have receipts for caliche, you have receipts for machinery, you have receipts for gas and fuel. So you do have those receipts, you have those things. So like, it's a catch-22 sometimes. So I wouldn't stress right now about the pre-disaster documentation, because you do have pre-disaster documentation. You have receipts, you have contracts, you have things like that. So you do have some pre-disaster documentation. You just don't have pictures, or you don't have logs, but you have timesheets and you have salaries and you have things like that. So there's positives and negatives to the documentation that you do have. But the biggest thing now that this has happened and now we're experiencing this process is let's continue. Take pictures, implement a log sheet on each piece of your machinery, implement a time in, time out for your guys. Start implementing those things, so God forbid this happens again, because it's gonna happen again, let's be honest. Y'all are prepared a little bit better this next time, and whoever takes the seat the next time will be prepared as well. And that's exactly what happened to Hamilton. Is 07, it hit them, they weren't prepared, they still got reimbursement. They probably could have gotten a lot more if they would have had all that pre-disaster documentation, but they still got some reimbursement. This time, they're really ready. Yes, they still have a few, none of us are gonna be perfect, but they still have a few holes, but they're even better than the last time. So it just, step by step, get better in the process, get better, learn from our mistakes, kind of deal. So again, 07, they didn't have all the documentation, but they still got some reimbursement. They probably could have gotten more if they would have had that little bit better documentation. So let's learn from that for next time. But let's now that we're in the now, you've got the documentation from other parts that could be used for that pre-disaster needs.
So, question I have on FEMA though. I did go back and did find back in, when we did it before, and they had a FEMA account. So, I'm wondering if we need to do that. You know, I mean, in the budget process. And created each individual. And the way I understand that, that's per job, so each job was paid and reconciled on its own merits. I'm just trying to figure out, since it's a reimbursement program, we've gotta have money put in the budget so that you can be.
Yeah.
Cause it is reimbursed, yes, and,
So
and.
you
and
gotta have
that's
some
what
kind of
this-
line item somewhere in there, so I think we're gonna have to add that to the budget to have a FEMA account. I don't know if that's the, we had an ARPA account.
You can just reactivate that in the system. But you'd
But-
have to reset the,
Numbers and all that stuff.
I'd have to look and see if it's still there.
That's it.
Commissioner Williams, what kind of monetary figure, if we do that, would you think we need?
Well, I have no idea. I mean, if we're only. Well, we'd have to have it in the budget and stuff, but what? $500,000?
I thought we kind of did in our individual, what we asked for, but everybody pretty well asked for 100,000 in there.
Yes.
You have your builder, but surely by the time you spend 100,000 in there, you're gonna be rich.
But we didn't include that in the courthouse or the law enforcement. So you'd have to do something there where either we had, or unless they did in their budget meeting that you had. I don't know what you got, we weren't involved in those, so.
But those are all other than the deductible, they're definitely under insurance, and then they said other value. People will pick up.
Reimbursed deductibles potentially, and that's another thing, you have to have all that documentation, that is a potential thing. That they may reimburse deductibles. They won't reimburse what the insurance paid, but they potentially will reimburse the deductible.
What I'm saying, and I understand what you're saying, Bill, we put it in the, when we had it, we talked about putting that extra money in there. But what I'm seeing on this, and then from Thursday's meeting, it's a lot easier that if it comes out of one account. Then, because it makes a lot of work, I don't know if it's more work on summer or not, that she's gonna have to be looking at our individuals account and then back on our FEMA account. And if you turn your paperwork in, and say this is FEMA related, she's gonna go straight to FEMA.
Every receipt
now.
that you want reimbursed, every receipt of material, every receipt of fuel, whatever, has to be put in that grants portal. So that's another thing that, yeah, y'all have it designated in summer, but whatever receipt y'all turn into her, it's gonna have to be uploaded to grants portal. And whoever your point of contact, or whoever you assign for that later on, put those receipts in that documentation. Every receipt that you want reimbursement that was specifically for the disaster damages, the flooding, has to be uploaded separately.
And so that's like more work for some, so.
Well, actually, it's y'all need to keep a copy of your receipts and
Yeah, I mean.
then submit them to Tony for him to upload.
But if you don't have a printer, you're coming to your office
I
and
mean,
using your printer. Or you're going to Joy's office. and just
Adele.
going to them. And so, I just say there's, we're gonna ask somebody to do a lot more work, or we gonna give them, are we gonna compensate them?
But, yeah, and what I heard earlier,
And or tomorrow.
Now, I'm telling you now, if y'all decide to go on and hire an EMC, the only thing under category C or Z, excuse me, zebra Z. That FEMA will reimburse that EMC is any work done towards this disaster. Not your basic plan, not going to the ISDs, not coming to commissioner's court or whatever, not any of that. Just when they work on grants portal for this disaster and things like that. And that EMC will have to keep their daily log and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're gonna have.
If you get, they know, if you get somebody that's, yes.
It's not gonna be setting off
Right,
Well,
right.
The lady that I talked to is writing, now she, in essence, even knows more, because if they have fire, she goes out to fire.
Yes,
So she is their total emergency
Yes.
management order.
yes.
Debbie Gerber used to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like Trish, she helps all because they're all volunteer fire departments, just like us in Comanche. She helps with each of their fire departments, if they have reports they have to get done, any fire management grants, things like that, she works with them as well.
Not just-
And that's what I've been doing, but I
Yeah.
can't do that because I'm not county official. But that's what Trish does. She goes, same with EMS. Comanche has their own EMS system, but with Hamilton, we do work with Hamilton EMS for our jurisdictions, working with them that whatever needs they have. Same with sheriff's office, all of that, they work with them as well. So all emergency services, but for us, since we're nothing but volunteer fire, that's one of their big head roles would be working with the fire departments.
She did very much, they said that she was very open to come and visit with us.
Well, Commissioners, for next budget, session we have, I can reach out to the surrounding counties and visit with each emergency coordinator and see.
I would
Yeah.
call Judge Foley and I'd call Judge Davis because both of those counties, we're the most alike. In our budget and how our county works and everything, like both of those counties especially we're really close.
And bring back some possibilities if they're more interested in helping us out.
Just a reminder, I keep saying this so you remember. Whatever salary you pay that EMC is not gonna be reimbursed by FEMA. The only thing that could be potentially reimbursed by FEMA is any work that EMC does for this disaster. They go to fires, it's not gonna be reimbursed. They go to the schools, it's not gonna be reimbursed. But if they are doing the grants portal, they're getting receipts from y'all, things like that, that potentially can be reimbursed. But that's admin costs, yes.
On adding costs of the total figure that you.
Yeah, the total.
So if they approve us the 380 or whatever it was, it would be 5%, is your total admin costs you could use for that. Through the group Z category Z. Yeah, that'd be the minimum.
Okay, anything else on budget discussion, Commissioners?
Hopefully, we can figure out literally $380,000. So are we doing all budget or are we just talking FEMA budget?
We don't talk about anything that's budgets, it's very general, talk about everything on budget.
Okay, so, you've posted the salaries that you're gonna send out.
We're gonna do that today, due by
Um,
June 24th, I believe, 25th.
so do we need to discuss some of those, or are you just gonna do?
June 25th. Well, we can discuss it right now. June 25th, notice elected officials proposed salaries. July 1st, deadline for notice of grievance. July 11th through 12th, potential salary grievance committee. July 15th, submitted elected official salaries to Gulf Lake.
So, I mean, maybe y'all been in conversation on some of these things, but I mean, it's. I see that you're wanting to bring, you've bringing before us that you wanted to bring. Some of the clerk salaries up to like equal pay,
Yes.
but you're not doing all of them. Is there a reason why we're not doing all of them to make them equal, or?
The ones, I don't have an answer for that.
That elected official to ask for the 3% only.
Say that again. I didn't hear.
That elected official asked for the 3% only.
But if we did, but we were told not to ask for any percentage or anything.
That's
so-
what's proposed by the judge. That's what I've been directed.
Opposed to 3% across the board salary for everybody.
But some of those are not getting 3%, some are getting more than 3%, if you're going by 3%.
See, Molly.
So, I mean, I didn't know it, or I mean. I'm just trying to figure it out, you know, they're, I mean, I don't want to pick on any office, but if we're gonna kind of make them equal and not that they have to be paid that, but if we're trying to make their ceiling that,
Okay,
well, I was just trying to figure out what the reasoning is here. The other thing is, it's called, let's see.
and Commissioner Williams are welcome to come back into my office sometime. We'll visit some of these things too.
Well, I sent these all to y'all, and never got a response back from any of these questions.
Well, we did have a meeting that one day, so we did discuss a few things.
Sheriff's Department, there's, a little bit, I don't. On the discrepancy of some of the employees that again, one is like, why are we raising some of them up and not raising that one up? But I guess that'd be the elected officials. The other thing is I'm telling you, I'm pretty adamant, we need another hand.
For sure.
I know summer's concerned. I hear you 100%.
You won't have one, because one of your other ones will have that leave available, FMLA leave. So,
I understand that in the way, but I don't see any other way around it. We need, when I have one hand that takes off or on vacation or whatever, it just messes up the whole week.
Yeah.
But not the whole week, though. Maybe it may put you a whole month behind. Cause if weather comes in like that, and with all this extra work that we've been tasked on doing, I mean, I know us three commissioners are sitting here, we're putting in 50, 60 hours a week. And, cause we're having to help be road agents besides be commissioners. And so, I mean, I just feel that I would be really adamant, I'd really like to have a 30. If not, to be able to be a shared third hand or something through the precinct, that's me. I know that's a big cost on them. I mean, that's a large money there. I'm pretty adamant that I don't mean this ugly either, but Summer's got to get some help down in her office. We know that situations in life has hit that office extremely hard. I'm worried about the sheriff's office. Budget wise, you got changing of the guard and all this other stuff. Have we done Senate Bill 22? Are we gonna do Senate Bill 2?
We're going to do Senate Bill 22, yes.
And so is that in the budget?
Yes,
Is that under the salary part of it? If so,
do you have that spreadsheet with you? Is that what you're looking at? So if you look under the sheriff's salary, you should see the supplement pay to make his salary up to what we have to have it at in order to qualify for SB 22.
And so where is the rest of that money gonna go? It doesn't show that.
So that, no, it doesn't, because it's not gonna be used on payroll as far as you're concerned. And we might talk about that again.
Well, it was just an open generic.
So it's gonna go, they have a line in their budget called grant expense. And that's where the rest of the money will go, and they will be able to expense whatever guns, ammunition, things of that nature. It will come out of that one.
And so are you doing that? Are you doing that application for Senate Bill 22?
I don't do it. I'm not allowed to do it. It has to be the judge.
Senate Bill 22, yeah, we'll get the money in, and it's like a supplement to the sheriff's
You
salary.
have to do the application.
Yes.
I think maybe y'all can correct me that the way it reads, the county judge is supposed to apply for it. Now, I've heard sheriffs doing the application, but the way I read it was that the county judge has to do it because he's the contracting authority for the county. And
So
so,
if we don't get Senate Bill 22, though, that's gonna make some of the figures cheat off on employees and make it on the sheriff.
All the other employees are up to meeting the standard of SB 22. The only person that didn't meet that is the sheriff's office or the sheriff. And that's why we have budgeted that line as supplement. Now, if you look at how it reads, also you can't back pay. So you apply in October, you get money in January. I cannot back pay October to December. We either pay it or we don't. That's the decision that has to be made in the budget. The October to December part anyways.
Do we need to have a budget discussion or a budget item on this B-22 in a future date, Summer?
I've looked at your budget calendar. You don't have any budget workshops on there. We used to do those every Monday for about a month. That way we could talk about all this stuff.
Well, we can do another budget workshop next week sometime.
Next week.
We did them
Every Monday,
and
every Monday in the month of August is how we did it, but
Okay.
we have it projected to pass the budget on October or August 19th, I think. Per judge's calendar.
For one,
Well,
the first thing for the next month, I don't know if that's right.
Well,
I think we
But-
I think we
So
just
what
need,
he's saying though, what Judge is saying though, he's gotta post these salaries.
yeah,
but that's
right.
elected officials only.
Now, again, we can do, whatever you want, Commissioner reporting, once Commissioner Williams gets back.
I mean, y'all can have that out, it's not gonna be there.
I would like to. Discussion, budget discussion, we can talk. I guess I was probably the original one that talked something about. An extra hand, what I was looking for was part-time, and so we would not. Be doing,
No, they still count as one person. Even though they're part-time, they still count as a person.
they don't have to be put on pension,
That doesn't matter.
but that's a bit, good bit of your cost.
Yes.
But, I tell her later I'm back off that because I really think what we're gonna be going through for the next couple of years, I think we'd be better off to use contract labor.
And to be honest, I probably need one more week just to jump the, I can jump with one leg, but just give me one more week. And then I might be good to have budget meetings, and I think we could have one every Monday, and I think we only need to do courthouse, precincts and sheriff's office. Everything else is pretty cut and dry as far as special use
Well,
funds.
that's the precinct that is just a huge.
Yeah,
improvement this year.
yeah.
It's just a huge number.
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't seen it, but I want to make sure that the sheriff's department, it's taken what, 2 years to get a car? We need to make sure that that rotation doesn't get lost again. And
City is gonna buy them a car this year, and then we'll have them next year budget for cars.
Right, I just wanna, I mean, I haven't not seen it, I just making sure.
Right. We haven't put out a proposed budget because we're still working payroll numbers.
But that can also be on Senate Bill 22 for vehicles,
Equipment, but still you gotta, yeah.
or that's what they said it was.
Well, yes, but they will determine how they use it, not me or you, and, if they've got the city paying for one this year, then if they wanna use that for that next year, that's what we'll do. That would be up to the sheriff.
Now, so you're back in the food commission school. I wasn't trying to take.
It's been hard, has to be 22, that's kind of food for.
I wasn't trying to take anybody's authority, I was just saying what
Well,
that money could be used for.
Right.
And
And the rules are still changing, like, that's what I'm seeing, is it's still changing, kinda like when we did
that's
ARPA
where
funds.
you say lights. Because when it still goes to Commissioner Strange, they talk about Senate Bill 22, and the fact that we're having the, like even the sheriff's stipend, if you wanna call it that. People are putting it off to the side, because nobody can guarantee you
I'm not,
this is gonna stay in place.
I'm not hearing that anymore, but what I am hearing through Treasurers Association is that they have the employees sign the agreement that if that supplement money goes away, that pay will go away. That's the only answer I've heard to that.
yeah, when the one training battle I went to, Robert and I went to, they said, put it in a separate line and
And
then
do contract.
also have the people sign off saying that they understand that this is a Senate Bill 22 issue if it goes away. I mean, it's just a document, again, stuff that we don't necessarily do is document. You know, some of the stuff that I would put in my budget to work on before the FEMA stuff. I just don't know how I'm gonna get to that and do the FEMA and do the improvements on all that, it sure be nice. I've got one hand that's gonna retire in a little over a year and a half, and if I could get somebody maybe for a year and a half, 2 years to help out, so that transition would be easier. I mean, look at Mike took 4 months,
Get someone.
and then before that, it was another 5 months or 6 months. I'm just saying, I mean, it's.
That was trying to get somebody in there that she didn't feel like he was wasting his time for 6 months.
Other concerns that, I mean, we're talking budget is, from this salary or job, can you really get, I mean, we're putting a salary in there for, the county attorney's assistant. That's always come out of the county's attorney salary as it is, but we're adding that whole line.
Well, he proposed about $20 per hour roughly. Good question. He's asked me if I knew anybody. I don't know y'all paying. We'll have it posted.
Tell him, I need to ask him, but $20 an hour for a legal secretary?
Was that even be a full-time position?
I don't know, but we're adding that, that's a whole new position there. That we're adding.
And then we're also talking about the emergency person too.
That's 2, and then these, 1, that's 3. I don't.
We're done.
Huh?
We hit 50.
And then, I mean, I just don't see any way that we cannot not worry about the 50 mark. But
Yeah.
I know that's more work on you, and that's why.
Oh, it's not gonna be more work on me. It's gonna cost.
Well, it'll be.
That's simple paperwork. It's listening to y'all out because your employees aren't at work. Cause I promise you, it's real easy to get that doctor's note to excuse yourself from work. It costs $40. That's just knowing what you're getting up front.
Yeah,
There's $100,000 stipend for under SB 22 for the county attorney, right? You can get $100,000 stipend that will cover like for the assistant.
That'll be up to him to apply for it.
got it. But it's, I mean, I'm probably saying it don't me too, but are we doing this for the county attorney too?
Well, I'd say about 22. We're talking, what was your question about the county
Is there
attorney?
any funding for him?
A county attorney, not that I'm aware of, or his assistant.
Well, I mean,
Bill 22 for county attorney, district attorney, and
Yeah.
sheriff's office.
Well, there is.
constable. Yeah. Yes.
And the county district attorney, the sheriff's office, and constable.
Okay.
But
Well, we'll keep having these budget discussions, commissioners. Anything else? Hearing none, let's move on to commissioners' requests and reports, number 15. Commissioner Head, take it away.
We've been working on, filling in some washes, some pretty deep ditches and washes and stuff, got County Road 250, got, that low water crossing repaired again, and, just been working on damages, trying to get.
And you said that one county road may get opened up today, tomorrow sometime?
No, I said it's the next one we're gonna start off.
Okay.
We had to fix a pretty good sinkhole on 307,
Okay.
but, other than that, I mean, we've been trying to get roads kind of opened up and get them not smooth, but, more comfortable to pass.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
Commissioner Parton, go ahead.
Basically still trying to get some equipment back together and going, the guys are working on County Road 118, we're actually. I don't know that the people that live up and down it, but we're actually hauling to retop some of it to basically fix it and then move on to the next place. But the main thing is trying to get some equipment back on. That's been a
Okay, anything else? Commissioner Williams?
Oh, I feel like I've been called in. First, we've been working on County Road 417 all last week. Redid the base of it and got it back down. We hadn't put a top on it yet. We were hoping to get the rain and it didn't really come out of that. Let's see here. I need to get several culverts, guys. I'm looking at, 5 culverts. And I don't know if y'all need any from the flooding or whatever, but, we can reach out to, both, heads and S&S as if we order a whole truckload that we might be able to get them here quicker. And it doesn't have to be the same size, just a whole truckload. And then we might be able to get a discount since we're only doing one shipping and stuff like that. I have no idea. It depends on what, when I ask Ed that question, he doesn't, well, it depends on what size culvert you get. So, when you're doing or looking this week or next week, look to see if there's any certain culverts that you want. I'm looking at getting some 30-inch smash ones that are 30-foot long, just what y'all, if y'all want, that's what they call them, smashed. I don't think that's the term for them. But also going to do that. Curious, the rock crusher, is it up ready to go?
Yeah, it's sitting there.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I
mean,
heard it was gonna be more, so. Okay, it's ready. And
We tried, we was gonna use it for our month and then all of a sudden we got hit with a flood, so it's.
so are you not using it and somebody can sign up for it for a month or whatever our rotation? I don't know what our rotation.
Jason.
It was supposed to be me 2 months ago, so.
No, this month.
No, it got.
Well, yeah, 2 months, yeah, cause it was
2 months
down,
behind.
yeah. But no, it's in the shop, I mean.
And then, went last week to, the De La Express, y'all, this is the gas line. I went to Gatesville and went to their open house. They are having another open house on the 26th in Brownwood at Adams Street from 4 to 8. It's just to come in, walk in, visit type thing. They've got all the maps and stuff up. This process, that this gas line is a 2-year process. And then it's, I don't remember how many miles it is, 600, nearly 700 miles. But the interesting thing I did pick up, and I will be getting this to Jackie to put in her office, but there is with the Office of Public Transportation and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, you can go online and sign up, and anybody, individuals in the county or whatever, can go online and sign up, and they will get daily postings of what's going on in trades and all that other stuff. It's actually pretty interesting. If somebody makes a comment, say, well, it's gonna ruin the wildlife or something there. They're doing all their studies. I think the one in Brownwood next week is like the last one in this area. Then it jumps out to West Texas away. So yeah, it's this week, the 26th. So really nice. I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's I asked them how they would handle the wind farm and all the transmission lines of the wind farm. I asked them how they would handle the county roads. They would be planning on board and all that stuff. So we would have to have policies and make sure that our policies are updated for them to bore under those roads and stuff. So again, that's a 2-year long process. But they said that they would, be also, when it gets closer, they will come and talk to the board, whatever.
I actually need to go, there's an old gas line. That looks to me like it's running. Kind of in the back, and this is the first.
They're hoping to be in that same easement, but they can't guarantee it because some of those easements gotta be a little bit wider. And they don't know if the landowner, you know, and then, of course, then that goes to, whatever, eminent domain and that kind of things when they get down to that process. But Robert, it's going to your precinct, mine, and Dale, so. Right on 5 feet.
And Robert, that area where that line they're talking about, right by your precinct barn, right? Same line, is that?
No, it's gonna be a little bit further north of me.
What line is that right there with the precinct barn of yours?
It's gas line.
Gas line.
But anyway, it's nice, and you can, and there's several different groups there, and you can actually see the map, take you some Bibles. Because that map,
You said Dale?
I'm just saying, I would have a night. I will be gone all this next week. Going on vacation with my girls, and we will be back hopefully on Sunday. There were so many meetings last week. Again, I'm working on getting, testing requirements and getting the company out. Some of that is, to the golf course, and I'll be working on the interlocal agreement there. And I guess that's it. There was something else, but I don't remember, so.
Okay. Number 16, county judge's report. First off, boring is completed. That was done 2 weeks ago. Thanks to all the commissioners and their hands, Guy and everybody for working on that job. Now, the latest, and I'll state this for you, Guy sealed up that connection to the collection point, whatever that place is called. And you're gonna wait a few more days before you test it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, in a few more days, he will test it, put water in there, and make sure it's draining out. Louis Coronado has been contacted for, getting a bid for the basement area. Buster Taylor's tied up. He didn't have time to get to it. So Louis Coronado has been, contacted. Louis came by to talk to Guy about doing some work down the basement area. If y'all have any questions, I recommend talk to the guy about what he's proposing. Anything I need to add on that, Guy?
Yeah, so what he put, his opinion on this was to put a drain in on that back side of the wall where the round drain is. And to redo the drain that's come down, redo that, it's going in the wrong direction. But instead of making a 2x2, to put that drain against the wall and give it about a 1-inch incline so that it goes away from the door. Yeah, that's what he recommends. I told him to put in a proposal and I'll bring it before Commissioner's Court. And then I also told him about the 2x2, what it'd be. One thing I wanted to let the commissioners be aware of is that this can possibly turn into something a little bigger once we get it dug up, because we don't know what's underneath there. So it may have to do add-on.
Or we may have to make sure that ADA, because if we're gonna agree to do FEMA money, and we're gonna fall under their ADA requirements is what somewhere, when she become our ADA coordinator. So that, we gotta make sure that that's ADA compliant.
Well, if we do, yeah, if we put that 1-inch incline and put the drain in the back, we're good. The only thing is once he busts up that concrete and looks under there, tying into that 4-inch drain, there is a possibility we'll have to replace that drain. I don't know.
I don't know if they would, this would be asking a lot. It would be great if they could work.
I talked to him about that. I told him that, we would have to do this in a 1-week period, no more. It has to be done in 1 week, and that's from start to finish. I've already talked to some of the other elected officials on what the plan would be to shut that entrance for a week. People Lori or somebody would have to go downstairs, meet people outside.
We gotta make sure there's no jury trials or anything.
Make sure there's no trials, no commissioners court, those sort of things, so, there's a little bit of logistics planning involved in that, but he said he could do it in 1 week, no problem, and that's from start to finish.
If I could do their jackhammer on the Saturday or something. Sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be, always, I'll keep that in mind too, I'll pass that on to him.
Bad.
Yeah,
Bad in that office.
just
echoing that basement.
I believe that once this drain problem is resolved right there at the handicap entrance. And after I test this lift station, and the way I plan to test that, I'm gonna unplug the sump pump. I'm gonna take a hose and stick it in that little 4-inch drain outside that handicap door and turn it on. See where it goes. Fill it with
Get those guys.
I don't either,
Just so it doesn't flood the courthouse again, that's all we care. Okay, any other questions on the Louis Cornell?
that's all. I got.
Okay, restoration. So restoration project last week, y'all may have been in here, they're cutting out walls. Tom Guthrie's office, the probation office, and the commissioner's court, soon to be the county attorney's office. And they took out all those sheet rock basically, made a lot of noise, had all their hazmat suits on. And now they're gonna come back this week, next week, guy?
They haven't given me a date on that. They're supposed to be within the next 2 weeks, come back and do a rebuild. The good news is there's no mold. So.
Okay.
And the bad thing is, it was not the sheet rock, it was just the bacon bed.
Take care.
Take. From what I asked about that, and the guy I talked to, the head of the company there, he said what happens is when individual contractors will buy this from Mexico to where it's still, they can, if it's over 2%, they can still use it there, it's legal. If there's more than 2% asbestos here, you're not supposed to use it. So.
Okay. Anything else on restoration? Moving on, I got a few more things. So, Hill Country Transit, 2 weeks ago, I was at a meeting, we voted to dissolve the Hill Country Transit as it stands. To give you all a reference, there's 9 counties. The brief story is the Urbans, which includes Temple, Clean, Coppers Cove, Parker Heights, almost Bell County, wanted to break away. They started these divorce proceedings. The rural people, which is of course Mills and Savin and Hamilton, we're looking at going to, of course, this will come to Commissioner Court. We're looking at being moved into Central Texas Rural, which is based in Coleman County and Early. Now, there's about 12 counties in that proposed new district. For us to leave the Hill Country Transit, there's no exit fees. And I've been told by J.R. Salazar, there's no entrance fees into the new proposed rural transit district. So again, the counties that would possibly be going into the new Central Texas Rural Transit be Savin, Mills, and Hamilton. Now, those counties, there's Runnels, Coleman, Brown, Comanche, Erath, Eastland, Callahan, Taylor, Nolan counties, Shackelford, and Stevens. I've done a lot of research talking judges and some commissioners up there. It seems like a win-win deal. Everybody's very happy with that transit district. Carol Warlick has been working with me quite a bit, consulting for free. I buy her lunch occasionally. But when she ran the transit district, I was going to give you all some figures. In Mills County in 2018, we had 5 small buses, 2 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee. Now we've got 1 bus, 1 employee. So I think everything's going to be good, and it's going to be a win-win for Mills County. And again, I will bring this to Commissioner's Court for Commissioner's Court approval before this transpires.
Where's the main office gonna be?
Well, we've had meetings in early Texas that have an office there, and also have one in Coleman County. But I'd much rather go there than have to go to Belton for meetings. So, and again, I recommend commissioners don't talk to your friends up there in those counties. Everybody's been very complimentary in Central Texas rural transit. And it's been just, I didn't go all the details about the Hill Country Transit. It's been a lot of meetings, and it's been a kind of, well, just a divorce like I described. So, and what they're gonna do, the urban people are gonna form their own transportation district. TxDOT has also gotten involved with all these numbers and figures too. So that is all I've got. Any other questions on that?
Do you know if precinct 1 still has County Road 308 closed?
I don't know anything about it. Commissioner Wright had a sciatic nerve. So he is able to take calls, you can call him.
Closed on the website.
Okay. And, people have asked me, I've had one final thing, thank God. I've had people say, what's going on with the red light? To hell if I know, no one's contacted me from, Texas or anything, they jackhammered, redone it, looks like I'm either about to wind down. So hopefully that project's about to be finished. And that's all I've got. Number 17, adjournment. Anybody want to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Motion been made by Commissioner Head to adjourn. I second. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.